um, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation. Next, purchasing of a database license. Yes. Yeah. Good evening, world. So before I start, can one please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes. Installation of a database server. Designing
we have some
database
introductory
objects.
session on this Azure Data Engineer. Just I'll take just 2 to 5 minutes. What we are discussing in the last
We need to
session.
set up our own hardware
Why Azure
infrastructure on top
data
of that
engineer,
OS
role of data
installation,
engineer,
purchasing
difference between
database
data
license,
engineer, data
installation of
scientist, and
database
data
server,
analyst,
designing a
data
database
engineer,
objects,
products and
designing of
services,
database
job market of
objects.
Azure Data Engineer. Cloud is majorly utilized
maintain
for
all this.
storing, analyzing, and delivering data.
To maintain all this, we
in
require
various
separate
forms.
teams.
So we have got on-premises. In the case of on-premises, we need to set up your own
To
hardware
maintain all this, we
infrastructure.
require separate
On top of
teams.
that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, and installation of database server, and designing of
require separate
database
teams.
objects. To maintain all this, we require separated teams: hardware team, operating
team is
system
required.
team, networking team, security team, database administrators,
Operating system team.
But here everything in the cloud premises. In the cloud premises, we no need to
networking
maintain
team.
all this. We no need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure.
Security team.
No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Here everything.
Database administrators.
In the cloud environment. Everything in the cloud environment, right? Yes.
Okay. To maintain all this, we require separate teams: hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security
cloud
team,
services.
database
They work on the data
administrator.
and make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination. Data engineers responsible for preparing the data, cleansing data, filtering data, transforming data, and processing data. And if you see the difference between this data engineers, data scientist, and data analyst. Data scientist strategizes for the future, analyze the data, identify the patterns, and recommendations for the future. But data analyst summarizes the past. So data scientist strategizes for the future. Data analyst summarizes the past, analyze the data,
We no need of
summarize the
team,
data of the
operating
past,
system,
and visualize
networking,
the data.
security, all this.
So if you talk about data engineer, does all the groundwork for data engineer, data scientist,
No
and
need to
data
maintain.
analyst means more
No
than
need to maintain any
80% of the data
infrastructure.
analysis work is done by data engineers. That extraction
No need
process,
of any
transformation,
licenses.
loading, all this processing, everything done. Data engineering involves what are the sources of the data, from where you need to bring, where you need to put the data from, what is the format of the data you need to get, how to transform it, and what is the destination of the data. And why Azure data engineers are in demand today?
Cloud. So no need of any of this
Azure data
infrastructure, no need of any licenses.
Why Azure data engineers in demand today? So data engineers, this data engineers, they are going to create a data warehouse for the organizations.
Data engineers.
And also data engineers communicate with the data scientists to understand the key requirements, data requirements, and also communicating with the business team.
Data engineers with the help of cloud services.
So this data engineers constantly keep processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. So this data engineers, right,
make it structured, and useful.
The data engineers, they are going to create
Data
a data
engineers with the help of
pipelines,
cloud services
and also
work
they need
on
to
the
make sure that
data
the
and
pipeline
make
is
make
secure.
it structured and useful.
And we have got other roles of Azure data engineer, which involves designing entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse
Make it structured
for
and
storing
useful.
of analytical data.
Data
ETL,
engineers.
it's one of the key tasks of data
Data
engineers.
engineers are
They are
responsible.
going to extract data from multiple sources.
Data
They are
engineers
going to
responsible
extract the
for
data from multiple
smooth
sources.
data flow. For smooth
Data
data
engineers
flow
extracting data from multiple sources,
from
transform
source
it
to
into structured and
from
queryable
source
form.
to
They
destination.
load the data into company storage service
Data engineers
for
responsible
further business
for smooth
evaluations
data
by the data
from source to
scientists.
destination. Data engineer, right? Data engineer will be responsible.
And data monitoring, right? And this data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper manner. The data is
Data engineer
available anywhere and
responsible.
everywhere it is
Data engineer
required.
responsible for
Data security.
preparing the data,
Data
cleansing the data,
security. Data security is also a major responsibility of data engineers.
transforming data. Yes,
Data security is also a major responsibility of data
processing
engineers.
data.
The data need to be secure at each step of the process without any data leaks
Data
or
engineer
exposure.
responsible, right, for preparing data, cleansing data, transforming data, and processing data.
Collaboration and communication.
So if I talk about the differences between this data engineer, data
Collaboration and
scientist,
communication.
data analyst, check this.
They need to constantly communicate with the business team.
Data
They need to
scientist.
constantly communicate with the business team to check
And here
the
I'm
data
writing
requirements, the
data
data
analyst.
needs. Collaborating with the data scientist,
So delivering
the
data
data as per
scientist,
their
the main
requirement.
role of this data
And
scientist,
analytics.
strategizes
They need to have some strong analytical knowledge, and also some certain things has to be automated,
for
like
the future,
some kind of
strategizes for the
extractions.
future.
And data engineering products or
Analyze the
services.
data,
Azure SQL.
identify the patterns,
Azure SQL, it's a simple
identify the
cloud
patterns,
RDBMS. It's a cloud RDBMS.
recommendations for the future.
Azure Data Lake, it is a kind of file system in Azure, distributed file system with unlimited data storage.
Analyze
Azure
the data,
Synapse.
identify the patterns, recommendations for the future.
It is for data warehouse purpose, for data analytics,
Identify the patterns,
batch
recommendations for the future.
parallel processing. Azure Data Factory, it's a cloud ETL. Azure Data Factory, it is a cloud ETL, cloud-based ETL. Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks, right? It's a fast Apache Spark-based data analytics platform, which brings the data science, data engineering,
Data
and the
analyst
business together.
So data scientist strategizes
Azure
for the
Cosmos
future.
DB,
Data analyst
cloud-based
summarizes the past.
NoSQL database. Azure Streaming,
Summarizes
analyzing
the
and
past.
processing
Analyze
high
the
volumes
data.
of streaming data. Streaming data means data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing.
Summarize the data.
Such data we call it as streaming data. Azure Key Vault. It's a secure key management to protect the data in the cloud.
Summarize the data.
So these are the main products.
And visualizing the
Azure
data.
Data Engineering, right? Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos Streaming. As a ADF developer,
summarizes the past, analyze the data,
as a Databricks
summarize the data
developer,
of the past, and visualizing the
or
data.
Azure Data Engineer, you are going to interact with all these services.
So data
We have
scientist,
got storage services
data
like
analyst,
Azure SQL
and
is a
data
storage
engineer.
service, Data Lake,
So data engineer,
Azure Cosmos. So you are going to interact with all this, right? So I was discussing like Azure SQL. It is a cloud RDBMS. It is a cloud RDBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations.
does all the groundwork.
Captures end user transactions.
Data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist.
Azure Data Lake, distributed file
and
system
analyst.
with unlimited data storage. In
Talk
cloud
like
is
more
called as
than
data lake.
80%.
It is a file system.
More than 80% of data analysis.
It is a file system. If you talk about, if you got knowledge on this Hadoop, HDFS is there, Hadoop distributed file system. It is on-premises DFS, but Azure
More than
Data Lake
80% of data
is a
analysis
cloud DFS.
work is done by data engineers.
I can say ADF, this Azure Data Lake. It is a large variety.
Data engineering involves.
It is a large repository.
Data engineering involves
large varieties of structured.
What are the sources? What are the sources of data? Secondly, what is the format of the data? What is the format of the data?
Unstructured.
How to transform data?
And semi-structured data. It is a large repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured,
and what is the destination of
and
the data?
semi-structured data.
So data engineering involves what are the sources of the data? How to what is the
every
format of the
cloud data lake?
How to transform data?
Every cloud data lake
and what is the
provides some
destination of
benefits.
the data?
Provides some benefits.
Why Azure Data
First one,
Engineering?
unlimited data storage. Unlimited data storage. Secondly, supports
Why Azure
all
Data Engineering?
varieties.
In demand.
Supports all varieties of data.
Why Azure Data
All
Engineering
varieties
is in
of data
demand
means
today?
structured
Why
data.
there is a great boom for Azure Data Engineer? And even if you see the salary packages
Structured
of this
data
data
means
engineer,
like
right?
DB tables,
Huge packages,
database tables, Excel files,
1.5 times or 2 times more than
and
the other
semi-structured
technologies, right?
data. All varieties of data like semi-structured.
Why Azure Data Engineer is in demand?
Semi-structured, which is not fully structured, which is not fully unstructured. Like XML files, JSON
For
files.
example,
Unstructured data.
check this. An organization. This is an organization.
Unstructured data like images.
It wants to increase. It wants to
Videos,
increase the business revenue
raw text.
by utilizing the customer behavioral data on the website. The organization using Azure for its operation. So it is going to
And thirdly,
hire Azure Data Engineer.
third, supports
Azure Data Engineer it is going to hire. And also a
all
data
formats of
scientist.
data, supports all formats of data. Like if we talk like .txt files,
It is going to hire
.csv
two
files,
persons, Azure Data Engineer and data scientist. First, a data engineer creates a data warehouse.
.tar
Is going to create a data warehouse.
.zip
For the organization. What is data warehouse? It is the
.gzip.
storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources, such as user logs, clicks,
Generally,
existing
here in
customer
data lake,
data.
here
Data
in
engineer
data lake,
structures
right?
this data,
Here,
stores it,
data
and
is in
monitors in
files.
data warehouse.
Here, data in files.
Secondly, this data engineer
Means
communicates with the
we
data
cannot-
scientist. Is going to
cannot
communicate
set
with the
up
data
relationship.
scientist.
We cannot set up
To understand the data requirement.
relationship
He also communicates with the business team to know the business requirements
between
of the
files.
organization. So he has to
Correct.
keep in mind
Between
the
the
business
files.
needs when dealing with the data in hand.
For example,
So every time he needs to keep
emp.txt
in mind,
file
right,
is
the
there.
business requirement, business needs when dealing with the
dpt.txt file is
data.
there.
The data
We have got
scientist later analyze
attendance.txt file is there.
and creates insights from the processed
We
data
got
of
like
data engineer.
salaries.txt.
The business team requires
TXT
the
file is
dashboard
there. Can
tools
you
for
set up any
visualizing
relationship
these
between
key
these files?
insights. It helps the team to
If
read the
can you set up
data
any relationship?
easily.
But in if with the
Data
tables,
engineer,
SQL
here
tables,
data
right?
engineer, right?
You can set
Keep
up relationship.
constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data.
But
He creates a data
if
pipelines.
data in
He
tables,
is going to create a data
if data in
pipelines.
tables, we can set
through
up
which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the
relationship.
data flow. We also make sure
We can set
that
up
the
relationship
pipeline is always efficient
by
and secure.
using primary
This is the
key,
primary roles of
by
Azure
using
data
primary
engineer.
key
But apart from this,
or
right, see if
foreign
I
key.
make it clear the
By
various
using
roles of Azure
primary
data
key
engineer.
or foreign key.
Role of Azure data engineer.
If data in tables, we can set up relationship by using primary key
Role
or
of Azure
foreign
data
key.
engineer.
Here we
First one,
cannot set
the
up
first.
here we cannot set up relationship between the files.
Designing entire data
But
flow
if data is
architecture.
in the tables, we can set up relationship by using primary key
Data
or
flow architecture.
foreign key. For example,
Designing entire
we have
data
got
flow
tables.
architecture.
The following tables. We have got tables like orders table.
Next,
Sales
like
transactions.
designing entire data
Sales
flow architecture
transactions.
and creating
Customers.
data warehouse.
Products.
Creating data warehouse.
Orders. Sales transactions. Customer and products.
For storage of analytical data.
Now,
Third
what is the
one
relationship?
ETL. The third task is ETL.
What is the relationship?
ETL process is one of the key tasks. It is one of the key tasks of data engineers. They
What
need
is
to
the
extract the
relationship?
data from multiple sources. They need to extract the data from multiple sources,
Order
transform
of
it into structured and queryable data, and load this
Order of
data
what?
into company's storage service for further
Product.
business evaluations by the data scientist and
Booked
data
for whom?
monitoring.
Order of what?
Data
Product. Booked for
monitoring,
whom?
right?
A customer.
Data monitoring. Data engineers, they make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way.
Once order
and the
confirmed.
data is available everywhere it is required. And also data security.
Once order confirmed.
Data security.
As a transaction. As
This
a
is
sales
also a major
transaction.
responsibility
Order
of data
of what?
engineers.
Order of what? Product.
The data needs to be
Product
secure at each
booked
step
for
of the
who?
process
Customer.
without any data
Customer.
leaks or data
Once
exposure.
order is confirmed.
And next
Sales
is like
sales
collaboration and
transaction.
communication.
Now, what
Collaboration
I'm expecting here,
and
I'm
communication.
expecting. So I'm expecting.
Collaboration and communication.
So here in the case of data
You have
lake,
to
we
constantly
cannot
communicate
maintain
with the business
relationship. So I'm
team to check
expecting
if the team
a cloud
requires
or
needs
DBMS.
data insights.
Cloud
Collaborating with the
or
data
DBMS.
scientists
The two
is also necessary to deliver the data as per their needs. And
used for data warehouse. The two
analytics.
used for data warehouse.
So
The
data
two
engineers
I'm
analyze the data
expecting.
and transform it into structured
The
and useful
two I'm
format.
expecting.
They need to have some strong analytical and mathematical skills to perform this analysis. And
Parallel
also
processing.
automation.
The two I'm expecting parallel processing.
Certain things have to be automated, right? They have to automate certain process which require minimal human intervention, such as
There is
extraction,
nothing
right?
but
Data extraction. So these are the
Azure
major role of Azure
Synapse
data engineer. The main thing is designing
analytics.
entire data flow architecture,
I'm
creating
expecting
data
cloud or
warehouse,
DBMS. The two used for data
ETL,
warehouse. The two expecting parallel processing.
extract, transform and load, data monitoring,
There is nothing but Azure Synapse Analytics.
and the data security at each step of the process without any leaks or exposures.
next,
Collaboration
going
and
to Synapse
communications with the
Analytics.
business team and data scientist. Analytics need to have some analytical knowledge to perform analysis, and for automation, certain things has to be automated, right? Yes. These are the role of Azure data engineer. Now coming to this services,
Azure Synapse.
Data
So cloud or
engineering
DBMS for data warehouse, for analytics, for batch processing, for parallel processing. Here we have a database. Here we have a database called. Here we have a database called
Azure data engineering products.
Azure Synapse. services.
SQL pool DB. SQL pool DB. Simply we call it as
Azure SQL.
Synapse DB.
Azure Data Engineering Products
Synapse
and
DB.
Services, Azure SQL.
Then we have a database called
Azure Data
Synapse
Lake.
SQL pool DB. Simply we call like Synapse DB.
Azure Synapse Analytics.
What is Synapse DB? What is Synapse DB?
Azure Data Factory.
Cloud Data
Azure
Warehouse.
Databricks.
Cloud Data Warehouse of Azure, right? Yes. What is Synapse DB?
Azure
Cloud
Cosmos
Data
DB.
Warehouse of Azure.
Azure Streaming.
When to go for
Azure Key Vault.
Azure Data Lake.
Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics. Synapse
When to go for
Analytics.
Azure Data Lake and when to
Azure
go
Data
for
Factory. ADF
Azure
here, we say
Synapse.
ADF, Azure Data Factory.
When to go for
Azure
Azure Data Lake and
Databricks,
when to go for Azure
ADB.
Synapse.
Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. So
If
just I'll
data
give
is
overview
structured,
about this Azure Data Engineering products. Yes.
if data is structured, go for Azure Synapse.
Azure SQL, the first one. Azure SQL.
If data is unstructured,
it is a cloud or DBMS. It is a cloud or DBMS.
go for Azure Data Lake.
Database. Simply I
Go
can
for
say it is a
Azure Data
cloud
Lake,
or
right?
DBMS
Yes.
database of Microsoft.
Now next, that is what
Of
Azure Synapse. Next,
Microsoft
Azure Data Factory.
in Azure. It
Azure
is a
Data
cloud or
Factory.
DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations. It is for OLTP
I can
operations.
say it is a cloud-based ETL. It is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud
OLTP
Platform.
captures
ADF is a
OLTP
data
system.
integration service. See here, for example, you got some OLTP systems, online transactional
It is going to
processing,
capture
day-to-day
end user
operations.
transactions.
What are the OLTP systems? Examples of OLTP systems.
Day-to-day transactions, right? Yes.
Mm.
It is not for data warehouse.
Examples
This
of OLTP
cloud or
systems.
DBMS
In the
database of
cloud,
Microsoft.
in Azure Cloud,
It's
right?
for OLTP.
We have got Azure SQL,
Azure
Oracle,
Data Lake.
in on-premises
Data Lake.
database, MySQL, SQL Server,
Distributed file system. Distributed file system.
MongoDB,
With
Azure
unlimited
SQL,
data storage.
Oracle,
With unlimited data storage.
MySQL, MongoDB, all this way.
In cloud.
And if we talk about this data warehouse,
It's called as data lake.
warehouse, you can say like Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse,
Distributed file system.
and here Azure
With
Synapse is
unlimited
one.
data storage in cloud is called as
You can say like a
data
Teradata,
lake. Talk about this HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system.
Vertica,
HDFS.
Azure Synapse, Teradata, Netezza, Vertica. These are the data warehouse system used for data warehouse. Now, where this
On-premises
ADF
distributed file
in the
system.
OLTP systems
Azure Data Lake.
or data warehouse systems? Where
Yeah,
can you
what
see this
Azure Data
ADF?
Lake?
So here Azure SQL here in the OLTP systems.
Is a cloud distributed file system. It's a cloud.
And Azure Synapse a data warehouse. But ADF, it won't be within this OLTP or data warehouse.
I can say it is a
in
repository for
between
large
these two.
varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured
these two,
data.
right? Yes.
Yes, it is a repository of large varieties of structured,
Acts as
unstructured,
an
and
integration
semi-structured
between
data.
these OLTP systems and
Like
data
ADF.
warehouse systems.
It
Azure
acts as
Data
an
Factory.
integration service between this OLTP
Azure Data
systems
Factory.
and
In a
data
simple way,
warehouse
I say.
systems. So ADF.
It is a cloud ETL. That's it. It's a cloud ETL or
Doesn't
cloud-based
come
ETL
in OLTP.
of Microsoft.
ADF
In
doesn't come in
Azure Cloud Platform.
data warehouse.
It is a cloud-based
ADF
ETL
is an
of Microsoft
integration
in Azure Cloud
service.
Platform.
Is an integration service between the OLTP systems and data warehouse systems.
Okay, it is a ADF. ADF is a data integration service. Is a data integration service. So I'll discuss what it is.
Data
So generally,
warehouse
it's a
systems.
cloud-based. It is a cloud ETL of
ADF
Microsoft, right?
is a data
Extract, transform, and
integration.
load,
It is
and
a
it is a
data
it acts as a data integration service between the OLTPs and data warehouse.
systems.
Raw data coming from one side, process data coming from other side.
All
They're being
transactions.
transformed as per the destination.
All transactions.
So ADF permits you to combine data from multiple sources, reformat it to analytical models, saving the models for querying, for visualizing, for reporting. It creates
How to bring
data flows for data movement and
how to
data
bring these
transformation.
transactions.
Right?
How to bring this
We'll discuss in brief
transactions.
later.
How to bring this transactions.
So you will be getting data
into
from
warehouse
IoT, logs,
systems.
media files, and for custom applications, business applications, it is going to extract it, load it.
We have ETL. What
into
we have
data lake.
ETL.
Later, this Databricks process it. Next,
By using ETL tools.
Azure Databricks.
How to bring these transactions into warehouse? We have
Azure
ETL tools.
Databricks.
Like for example, Informatica.
ADB. Simply, I can say it is a
Informatica. Data stage. Talent. Example, right? All these are.
It is a Apache Spark.
All these are on-premise.
Apache Spark based.
On-premise ETL tools.
Apache Spark based.
On-premise ETL tools. But I need
data analytics. Data analytics.
ETL. I need a ETL on
platform.
cloud. But I
data
need
analytics
ETL on
platform
cloud.
for Microsoft Azure. For Microsoft Azure.
ADF. But I need a ETL on cloud. That is what? ADF.
So it combines data science, data engineering, and business together. It's Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Spark is a very high-speed processing
ADF,
execution model.
we can
very high-speed processing execution model, right? At a very high rate of speed, it's going to process the data.
Using ADF,
Get to huge data in very quick time, right? So it is Apache Spark-based analytics
cloud
platform
databases.
from Microsoft Azure, right?
Cloud
Yes.
database
Brings data science, data engineering, and business together. Later, I discuss in brief about this thing. Coming to the
non-cloud
Synapse.
databases. Non-cloud databases. NoSQL databases.
Azure Synapse. Cloud or DBMS.
Okay. So using
Cloud
ADF,
or
we can
DBMS.
extract data and pump the
For
data
data
into data
warehouse.
lake or Synapse. Right. So here,
For analytics.
Here it is ETL. Here it is ETL.
For batch processing.
Our working style. But our working style is
for parallel processing.
ELT. But our working style is ELT.
For parallel processing.
Extract, load.
For batch processing.
Extract,
for parallel processing.
Load,
yes.
Transform.
Azure Streaming. Azure Streaming Analytics.
For huge volumes, ETL is bad. So for huge volumes, we are going for ELT.
Analyzing and processing
high volumes of streaming data. What do you mean by streaming data? Data
Okay,
which
right.
keeps
So,
on incrementing,
I was talking
data
about
which
the
keeps on
services, right?
generating. Such data we
So
call as
Azure
streaming
data
data.
engineering products
That
are
too from multiple
services.
sources.
In that Azure SQL, it's a Cloud.db
From multiple sources.
Azure Data Lake,
And that too simultaneously.
Azure Data Lake, it's a
That too simultaneously.
file system. It is a
Azure
distributed file
Cosmos
system.
DB.
So, okay, and ADF, it's a cloud ETL. See, we no need to write any code. We no need to write any code in this ADF. The simple drag and drop. It's a simple drag and drop, right? We talk previously and now. We observe
Azure
the previous
cloud-based
versions and these versions of ADF. If you see about ADF versions,
NoSQL database, you can say.
ADF versions, right?
Azure
Yes.
cloud-based
We have two
NoSQL
versions.
database. So just like
Two
we have got
versions.
many NoSQL
First one,
databases
ADF version 1.
like Graph Store, Columnar
ADF
Store,
version 1.
Document Store, Graph
Second, like
Store,
ADF version
like
2.
the famous NoSQL
ADF
databases
version
like
2.
MongoDB,
ADF version 1,
HBase,
version 2.
Cassandra,
In
React,
ADF
Peanut,
version 1, in
Neo4j,
ADF version 1,
right? CouchDB.
simply I
Same
can
way,
say
like
it is used to
same manner,
perform.
like cloud-based NoSQL database, that is Azure Cosmos DB.
It is used to perform EL only. It is used to perform EL only,
Azure Key Vault.
but not ETL. Understand here, but not ETL. Means there are no inbuilt transformations.
data in
There
the
are no inbuilt transformations.
Protecting data in the cloud, right? Secure key management. So we use like Azure Key Vault for encrypting the keys and small secrets like passwords.
To perform transformations.
Okay. So these are the major data engineering products. So as a ADF developer, if you go like
Some additional
as an
services
ADF
to perform
developer
transformations.
or like a Databricks
So
developer,
I can
as a
say
data
some
engineer,
additional
you are going to interact with all these
some additional
services, Azure
services
SQL, Azure Data Lake,
are
Azure
required.
Cosmos DB. So you are going to
So in
store the
ADF, I'm
data.
talking version
You are
1.
going to read the
In
data,
version 1,
going
but
to
in
write the
version
data
2,
into Azure
nothing
SQL,
is
Azure
required.
Data
It's
Lake,
very
Cosmos
simple.
DB,
I'll say that
Azure
to perform
Synapse,
transformation, some
right,
additional
from this. So
services
as
required.
directly or
Such
indirect.
as
So you are going to interact with all this as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a data engineer. You are going to interact with all these things, right?
ADLA.
So what is the course content I'm going to discuss, right? So here, before I go, Azure Data Lake Analytics.
Azure Data Lake Analytics. Here,
Okay.
analytics done
Yes,
by,
observe.
here analytics done by USQL. USQL. What is this USQL? Unified
Azure Data Engineer.
Unified
So mainly
structured query
going to discuss
language.
like Azure Data Factory.
Unified structured query language.
Azure Data Factory.
Don't think it is SQL. It is not equivalent. It is not
Azure
equivalent
Databricks,
to basic SQL.
ADB. In this Azure Data Engineering course, right?
It's not basic
Azure
SQL.
Data
It is
Factory,
different.
ADF.
And secondly, in
Azure
the version 1,
Databricks,
you need to have a lot of other knowledge. But in version 2, there's no
PySpark,
no prerequisite. You doesn't have any knowledge or put anything directly. You can
Azure
work with
Synapse.
without writing any code in version 2. But in version 1, you need
Azure
to have the
Synapse.
knowledge about
Apart from
ADLA,
this is the main
HD
discussion.
insights,
Azure Data Factory,
HD
Databricks,
insights,
PySpark. Plus, you will be given knowledge on this Azure SQL.
HD insights means Hadoop insights. Hadoop insights.
Azure Data Lake.
What is Hadoop? Is a distributed.
Azure Cosmos DB.
It's a distributed computing cluster. Cluster means group of systems connected in a network.
Azure
We call it as a
Streaming.
cluster.
So Azure Data Engineer, so about you'll be getting the entire knowledge in brief about
Same
these
big
things.
data.
Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, ADB, PySpark.
Same big data.
Apart from this, I will also be providing knowledge on these things. See the course content ones, right? Just have a look in this course content. Azure Data Factory,
Hadoop framework.
overview of Azure resources or services, Azure Data
In
Factory,
Azure Cloud.
Databricks, Azure SQL, Key Vault, Synapse, Cosmos DB streaming. Azure
called
Data
as
Factory.
HD
What is Azure
Insights.
Data Factory? Its architecture, Data Factory UI, top level concepts, pipelines, activities, data
So
sets,
here in
triggers,
HD
data flows,
Insights,
integration,
here
runtime. Pipeline, what is a pipeline? Creating a new pipeline,
we have a
organizing
data flow language. Here
pipelines
we
into
have a data
folders,
flow language.
debug pipeline, publish pipeline, parameters for pipeline, linked services
Called
for blob, MySQL
Apache
database,
Pig, we say.
SQL server, data lake,
Data
and
flow.
data sets. What is a data set? Creating data set for Avro
Data
file,
flow means
binary file,
sequence
CSV,
collection of
Excel, JSON,
pipes.
ORC, Parquet,
At each pipe,
XML,
some
blob,
transformations will
tables
happen.
in SQL database, parameterization,
Data
set
flow, like
parameterization,
data extraction, data
activities,
cleaning, data
variables,
filtering,
creating
data
a variable, set
aggregations, right?
variable, append variable, copy data, general source, sync, mapping, setting,
So
user
using this
properties,
previously, using
one file from a
Pig,
folder, all files from a folder, all files and
this
folders
data
recursively from
flows.
the folder, copy data file
Using
from
Pig,
blob to SQL
this
database,
data flows.
Databricks, Azure function,
Data flows are
get data,
written.
get metadata, delete,
Data
execute
flows are
pipeline,
written.
validation, iteration,
And
condition,
transformations are
filter for
performed.
each if condition, switch until triggers. What is trigger? Types, schedule trigger, tumbling window, storage
And
event
thirdly,
triggers,
what are the other things you need to
integration
know in
runtime, Azure managed virtual network,
Azure
self-hosted,
functions?
source control,
Azure
flow,
functions.
credentials, managed private endpoints. Okay, data
These are
flows,
very complex
mapping
to
data
implement.
flows, transformations, filter,
These are
conditional
very
split,
complex to
exist,
implement.
union, lookup, group by, pivot, unpivot, flatten.
Next, you need to have
Filter,
the knowledge
flowlet,
about
validate,
Azure
schema drift,
database.
removing duplicate rows, slowly changing dimensions, right?
You need to have
Type 1,
knowledge on
type
this
2.
stored procedures.
And many exercises I'm going
talking
nearly
about
50
version 1,
exercises I'm
not
going
in
to show
version
you.
2.
Let all this creating copy
Stored
activity, copy
procedures.
activity, bulk,
Stored procedures.
copy
You need to
tables
have the
from
knowledge on the
files
stored
until activity,
procedures.
filter, join, lookup, pivot, alter row,
So
SCDs,
to perform,
right? All this. Coming to the
perform
Databricks, before I go with
transformations.
Databricks, I'll be providing you some knowledge on this big data. I'm going to provide you some knowledge on this
There
Hadoop,
are no
some knowledge on this
so to
Spark,
perform transformations, there are
and
no
on
inbuilt
Azure.
transformations. You should be a
An
developer
introduction
first.
to this Azure, an introduction to this
You
Databricks,
should be
creating
a
of Azure Database
developer
service,
first.
Azure CLI, adding users and groups to the workspace, creating a cluster from the user interface, getting started with notebooks, Databricks cluster management, displaying cluster, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster information, cluster logs, cluster access controls, types of cluster, all purpose, job cluster, Databricks pools, cluster modes, high concurrency,
scripting,
auto scaling, Databricks utilities, data utilities,
using
file system, job utility,
USQL,
Databricks integration with the Azure Data Lake, SQL database, Synapse, Snowflake, Databricks handling multiple file formats, CSV, JSON, Parquet, Excel, XML, ORC,
generally
Avro files, batch processing, historical, incremental, date transformations,
by Hadoop
join
developer,
operations, window functions, union operations,
Hadoop developer,
streaming
you need to have the
API,
knowledge on this.
handling bad records,
Like Hadoop
Lakehouse,
developer,
Delta Lake, differences between Delta
Azure
Lake and Delta
functions,
table, reduction to Delta Lake,
Azure
features of Delta Lake,
functions,
how to create Delta table, how DML operations
by
in Delta
.NET
table,
developer,
merge statements, handling SCD type 1, type 2, data duplications,
generally
workflows in
perform
Databricks,
Azure Databricks,
scheduling Databricks jobs, monitor Databricks jobs, Azure Synapse, overview of pools,
like
using Azure Synapse
Spark
Analytics
developer,
to query data lake, Azure storage accounts, integration with Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse triggers, Azure SQL
stored
database
procedures,
integration with Azure Synapse, incremental load, loading and notification of key vaults, deep dive into copy activity, data
by
flows,
SQL developer.
join, union, lookup, window, pivot, alter, and
So just in the version 1,
Spark
ADF
pool,
version 1, you
introduction
should
to
have
Azure
knowledge
Synapse,
on the
right?
Hadoop. You should just
Reading
like
and
be a
writing
Hadoop
JSON
developer, like a
files, Avro
.NET
files,
developer,
Excel files,
like
all this.
Spark developer,
So
like
in brief, in
SQL
depth, we'll be
developer.
discussing
You need to
about
have
all
this
these
to
things.
perform this transformation.
Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks,
So Pig is
Azure
a very
Synapse, and
it has got a
PySpark.
great
Means Azure
boom previously.
Databricks with the
Pig
PySpark,
is
right?
a
Yes, and also everything
data flow language.
storing, interacting with all
It
these
can
things,
process
right?
all varieties of data.
Data like
100 lines
Cosmos
of
DB.
Java code we
And
can
if I
write
talk
within
about this job
6 to 8
market,
lines in Pig. That is what the easiness of Pig, right? So just
job
like
market, right?
the
Yes.
animal name, it can process all varieties. It
So
can
according to
eat
this
anything, means
Microsoft,
it
right,
can eat
every
anything,
year
it can
like
process in
lakhs
the
of
same
new
way.
companies,
It can process all varieties of data. That's why the name
they're
Pig.
registering themselves on Azure.
Whatever the
Like
dirty data, Pig
more
can
than
process.
95% of the Fortune 500 companies are
But
utilizing
later
Azure
when Spark came
cloud
into the market,
services.
Pig got outdated.
The in turn increasing the number of
For
job
example,
opportunities, the number
if
of job
no
opportunities for Azure data engineers.
if no ADF version
So
2,
major companies, they are
still
using
ADF
Azure,
version
they are
1 only,
shifting to
then the
Azure,
prerequisite should be
and
a
regularly
developer
need
having knowledge
professionals
on
who can work in
Spark,
Azure and
stored
handling
procedures.
huge data. According to the pay scales, data engineers have got the highest average
So
salary
it should be
as
expert in all
closely as
this.
data
This is the
scientists.
problem.
From the survey of global knowledge,
This
you
is the
can see right,
problem with
the top two highest paying jobs, data engineer and data
ADF
scientist.
version 1.
So if you want to have it, if
ADF
you want to
version
change
1.
the career to this
Afterwards,
data engineering side, so it is one of the best choice. So it is one of the data engineering jobs is the emerging jobs, and even companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all
recognized.
they're interested in hiring these data engineers as with a great salary packages. You can see
Microsoft
the salary
recognized
package also as compared
this
with other
problem
technologies, even like tech giants like Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart are
decided
offering high-paying jobs for this data engineers.
to
right?
make
So yeah,
a ETL tool.
tomorrow also everyone can attend the session same
To
time
make a ETL
at
tool.
6 p.m. using the same link. And let
To
me
make a
make it
ETL
when
tool
PySpark
with zero coding.
yes, PySpark
With
will be
zero
covered in this. Yes,
coding.
PySpark also will be covered. See here, most of this what I said in the syllabus, many not touch and go
With
in
zero coding.
total like. So I said before I go with
That is-
Databricks, first I'll give knowledge on this big data,
That is
Hadoop,
nothing but
Spark, and later in this
ADF
we're dealing with
version
different
2.
types of data
That is
and
nothing but
clusters,
ADF version
Spark
2.
cluster, creation of the Spark
They launched
cluster,
a new version.
working with CSV, JSON, Parquet, Excel, all
They
this
launched
data,
a new version.
and this everything, date transformations, incremental loading, join operations, window function, union operations, Databricks, batch
ADF
processing using Spark by Spark, right?
version 2.
These things. And data frame API. Total data frame API will be discussing in
Previously,
brief.
if you talk about Informatica,
Sir, can I ask some
if you
question?
talk about Informatica, it's a data
just a
brokerage tool.
second. Timings.
80%
Hello.
drag and drop.
Yeah.
80% you have seen drag and drop.
Hello.
Just
And
a
20%
second, just
writing
to
SQL
just
script.
1 minute, right? Let me complete this, then I'll come back to with your queries.
20% writing.
So for the
SQL
first 3 to
scripts.
4 days, right? The timing
But ADF
will be
version
at
2.
starts at 6 p.m.
But
Later it
ADF
will be at
version
7
2
p.m. up to the end of the course.
is zero coding.
It first 3 to 4 days, it will be at
Is a
6
zero
p.m.
coding.
So before you go with the
ETL.
payment process, I'm making you to clear about the timings.
Because of this
First
zero
3-4
coding,
days
today
only it will be at 6 p.m. Later
this,
it will start at 7
data
p.m. up to the end of
factory,
the
it is
course.
like a
Daily 1
hero,
hour.
it is
7
not
p.m.
based
to
on
8,
its
7
performance,
p.m.
based on this
starts.
zero coding.
Right?
But the
And
performance is very
offerings
good,
from my
even
side.
terabytes of data it can process.
What are the offerings from my side, right? Yes. Each and every session,
So here
live session
in
video.
ADF version 2, no need to have
Each
that
and every
all
session
this
video you'll be getting.
directly
Even if
with
you miss
zero
any
coding,
session,
no need to
you
have
can
that
go through the
knowledge on
recording
this
and attend the next session
big
for the better
these things,
understanding.
right? Directly, it's a zero
Soft
coding
copy of
ETL.
the class notes.
In ADF version
And
2,
assignments and
we
tasks
got
to
new
work.
features.
Assignments are tasks to work. And a
Such as
WhatsApp group will
data
be created for
flows.
technical discussions. If you
Let's
get any
go out
error, you
well.
can take the snap of it and post in the WhatsApp group. Anybody can be answering. I'll be answering it.
Here we have
And
got here we got many built-in transformations.
interview
Here we got
questions.
many built-in transformations.
Okay. Live session video, soft copy of the class notes,
We
assignments,
got
and
many
tasks,
built-in transformations.
and WhatsApp and interview questions, right? Yes.
No
So
need
this
to
is
write
the
any
things,
code.
right? So tomorrow also you can attend the session to see more discuss. Yes, someone was asking some queries, right? Yes.
No need to write any code, right? Yes.
Yeah, some of you were asking queries. Now go with your queries, right? All the sessions will be interactive sessions. Any point of time, if you got any query, you can unmute and you can answer, right? Just you can ask the queries. You'll be in unmuted
ADF
status
version
only
2.
through voice or through chat. You can communicate. Right?
In ADF version 2,
This will be a weekend classes or weekdays classes?
we
These are
define
weekdays
data
classes.
flows.
Daily it will be.
We
Okay.
define
Monday
data
to Friday.
flows.
This data
Sir,
flows
in Databricks, sir, where we are going to
are
use it, sir?
internally
Which tool are you going to create a Databricks services? Yeah,
converted
community
into
edition you will use.
Databricks jobs.
So yes, see for Azure Databricks, right? If you want
Yes,
like total PySpark features, Spark
And
SQL kind
executed
of
by
features, say okay, you need to go with pay as you go version.
Here we no need to write.
See, for this Azure subscription, it is giving free subscription,
Here we
right?
no need to write.
So I'll show you
Any
how to get the free subscription for this Azure and how
Spark
to work
or
with the
Databricks
practical
code.
Spark. For Azure Data Factories, all this, even some part of Databricks also you
Here
can
we
use
need,
it.
here we no need to
And
write any
especially from
Spark code or
Databricks,
Databricks
if
code.
you go with Spark side, right? At PySpark, if you want functionalities, full-fledged functionalities,
So everything
to be
internally they are
used,
converted into
then you
this
need
in
to go with the
executed, right?
premium
Yes.
version.
So
Pay as you go
initially
version.
there
There
also
also
ADF
I'll say you
developer,
how
if you
it
want,
can
you can
reduce, how
get
with
into the
minimal
company.
cost, how you can get it. I'll be
Today there is a
discussing.
great boom
Means whenever you practice, you
for
need to practice and
ADF
immediately delete it. Again, it takes
Databricks,
just 2 to 5 minutes. It
and
takes
if
to
Databricks
recreate it
along
once
with
tomorrow if you want
Spark,
to
if you've
use
got
it. This
PySpark,
way,
right? That too.
if you want to minimize the price,
More
I'll show you how you can
see that
with minimum
more
price, how you
calls
can get the
Databricks
features.
along with knowledge with
Otherwise, if
PySpark,
otherwise
right?
it is a cluster
So
keeps
with
running,
higher
it will be charged
packages,
for that.
you got bigger packages available.
sir, in class you will create cluster. Yeah, what?
Can just
Yes,
check.
everything I'll be showing you. Without cluster, you
Check
cannot
Google
run
and
this
check it. Lot
Databricks
of jobs for
jobs.
Azure
Mhm.
data engineers for
In
PySpark
Sir,
for all
one
these
more
areas,
thing.
right? Yes.
Yes.
So just
Sir,
zero coding is
how
involved for
to
ADF version
create the
1.
tables?
So you can
There are the
just go through this
different
course content, right?
tabs
So
are there in
all that
Databricks,
overview of
having
Azure's
a
resources,
catalog.
Azure Data
What is
Factory, top level
what is
components,
use of
pipelines,
catalogs and
activities,
how
link
to
services, data sets, triggers,
backtrace the
pipelines,
jobs?
link services, data sets,
See, one thing,
working with Avro,
right?
binary,
It's a big thing.
CSV, Excel,
Okay, to
JSON,
explain
ORC,
it takes
Parquet
time. But
files,
as
activities,
you asked, right?
creating
1 second.
variables, copy data, copying files from one block,
So
copying
the
data
first thing
from
in Databricks, everything
Databricks
is a
notebook,
catalog.
Azure
Compulsory,
functions,
we
get
need to create a
metadata,
catalog.
filter for each if
So
condition, switch until
check this
triggers,
Databricks with
schedule
PySpark
trigger,
notes, right?
storage event trigger,
So
tumbling
yes,
window
this is the
trigger,
entire
integration
notes. For
runtime,
every batch, I'll be
self-hosted,
creating the notes separate
auto
way.
integration runtime,
So how to mount ADLS
SSIS,
Azure Data Lake with DBFS file system?
data flows, mapping data
Databricks
flows,
community Unity
transformations,
catalog. This is the
different types
diagram
of this,
for that.
and
Unity,
nearly
what you
50
have asked.
exercises,
So
practical
it's too
exercises
early
I'm
to
going to
discuss,
discuss in
but
this
as
video.
you asked,
You can see
so
all these
just
50
check with this
exercises
diagram.
here as shown.
I have just
Azure
drawn this diagram in the paint.
Databricks. Introduction to this
Check
big
this.
data, introduction to this
So
Hadoop,
catalog is the
introduction to Spark,
catalog. First,
introduction
we
to
are
this
supposed
cloud
to get this
computing
catalog,
and Azure,
using
and
the
coming to
catalog,
this
you will be
Azure
giving
Databricks.
privileges to the users.
And
To which users you want
Databricks
to give the
cluster
privilege, you
management,
can give the
displaying cluster,
privilege
starting
access,
cluster, terminating a cluster,
and within the catalog,
deleting
if you
a
want to create
cluster,
multiple
cluster
catalogs
information,
for
cluster
development,
logs,
for QA, and for
cluster
production,
modes, auto
for
scaling,
all this,
Databricks
for every
utilities,
environment, I'll create one
credential,
catalog:
data
dev
utility, file
catalog,
system,
QA
job,
catalog,
library, notebook,
production catalog. Within this
integration with block
catalog,
storage,
database
database
one
Synapse,
within dev
Databricks
catalog. For
handling
example, dev
multiple
catalog,
file
development,
formats, Databricks
production.
batch
For
processing,
dev
historical
catalog,
data load,
database
incremental
1,
data load,
database
date
2, database,
transformations,
multiple
joins, windows,
databases
union
I'll create.
operations,
Within the
streaming
databases,
API,
tables I'll
Databricks
create.
Lakehouse, Delta
Within
Lake,
each database, I'm talking about a single
and
database,
workflows in data,
tables,
and Azure
views,
Synapse,
functions, values.
overview of
Again, in
tools,
each
user
table,
Synapse
managed
analytics,
tables are there,
Azure
unmanaged
storage
tables are
account,
there, values,
Synapse
managed
triggers,
values, unmanaged values,
SQL
views,
database
functions. All this
integration
in
with Azure Synapse,
about tables and views in
incremental
SQL,
loads, logging and
functions and values
notifications,
report.
deep dive into copy activity,
So
data flows,
will be
right? Different
discussed
data flows
Unity
and
catalog
transformations,
as well.
Spark pool,
Without that, you cannot run the show, right?
all this, right? In brief, in depth,
Yes, because
as I said, right?
most of the times
Yes,
in
check with
interview
this.
people are asking.
This is the main thing, Unity
As I was
catalog.
yesterday I was
Unity catalog is
discussing,
the
right?
main thing among
So
all this.
as Azure data
Compulsory,
engineer,
we need to create it.
so as the
See, the
ADE,
steps,
what
clear
you are
steps
going
I'll
to
be
see.
showing
So
you about this,
first
right?
I'll be discussing
So
about ADF,
Databricks
Azure
Unity
Data
catalog
Factory,
diagram,
Azure
Databricks Unity
Databricks,
catalog, Databricks Lakehouse
PySpark,
platform, Databricks Lakehouse
Azure
platform,
Synapse,
setting up Unity
see Azure
catalog,
Data
setting up
Factory,
Unity catalog,
Azure
provisioning and adding
Databricks,
users to Unity catalog,
PySpark, Azure
creating users
Synapse.
to the Unity
These things
catalog,
in
creating
brief, right?
metastore objects in the Unity
Especially
catalog,
you can
granting
go
and
as ADF
revoking
developer,
privileges,
ADB developer,
creating
data
values,
engineer,
creating external
PySpark
locations,
developer.
everything
So
in this Unity
especially
catalog.
you can as compared with other training sites.
So this is
This PySpark. See,
notes
I'm
for
also going to discuss
this,
PySpark, which
right?
has got great demand in today's
For
market.
PySpark,
Like unlike
clear
other
notes
training
of this
sites, they won't
PySpark, right?
they won't
So
go with this,
PySpark
right? They go with
computations,
this
data
Azure
frames
Data
API,
Factory, Databricks, with Azure Databricks,
Unity catalog
with
compulsory. Spark, right? Fine.
Yeah.
So you will provide
Azure
notes
SQL,
also, or
and
this
apart from this, I'm
recordings
also going to provide
you
you
will
knowledge on this
provide.
Azure
Yeah,
SQL,
recordings will be there.
Azure
Notes
Data
will be
Lake,
both. See this
Azure
session video.
Cosmos
Each and
DB,
every session is
Azure
video
Streaming.
recorded.
So I'm
But
going
And
to
one more
provide
thing,
you knowledge on
I've
these
checked you have
things, right?
multiple sites on Google.
So
So
duration
which
of
one
this
is
like
original?
around 3 months.
Which one?
Because
And
every time I
the
open
timings of this
your
batch.
site on Google, so
So for the first, okay.
durgasoft.com,
So here,
durgasolution.com. So which one is yours?
see, 1 second. Go to this Google.
So here at 7 p.m.
and that Durga Software
at
Solutions.
7 p.m. right? Yes.
Yes.
Durga Software Solutions.
ADF.
Durgasoft.com. Durgasoft.com.
ADF
If you
class.
say the
And
Durgasoft.com, right? You will see all this
7
site will
p.m.
get.
to
This is
8
the
p.m.
site where that all running courses you can see.
okay.
You'll have ADF
So you can see
classes.
today's right ADE and Azure
And,
Data Engineering. Today's demo,
After
right?
1 week
In this
from now,
Fine.
once you get the total
Durgasoft.com, right?
basic
Yes.
of
Where
the
you can
after
see the
discussing
posters
1
of
week of
different
ADF
topics.
classes.
Yes, yes, yes.
And clear
Parallel
notes will be
at 6
provided
p.m.
for
to
topic
7
wise,
p.m.
each and everything clearly. If people from any,
Okay.
there is a prerequisites, means for ADF, there is no prerequisites. For
You will have
Databricks,
Databricks.
some basic SQL knowledge is required and
ADD
basic Python
classes.
knowledge is required.
So 2 hours I'll be
Basic
taking.
Python knowledge is
1
required.
hour on
right?
this ADF and 1 hour on
Python
this
basics.
Database.
Which Even I'll be giving syntaxes of this Python for
Later, once these
just
are
2-3 days,
completed, I'll
be
go with
briefing,
Synapse,
briefing you
Azure
about the
Synapse,
syntaxes
right?
before I go with the
So
practicals.
2 hours per day it will be.
So tomorrow also you can attend
6
the
to
session
8,
to see more
1 hour
discussion
on this ADF,
right?
1 hour on this database.
Any other queries, right?
People
Anyone having
who
any other
want only
queries?
ADF, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m.
So everything will be
like,
from this
40
ground level
days.
to the advanced level.
And
Anyone with zero programming
those who
knowledge
go
or
for
anything
Azure
with
Data
zero
Engineer,
skills, right?
both ADF and
The only
ADB.
thing is attending the sessions and doing
So
the
first
practicals
ADF
and
will be
asking the
started
queries
7
in
p.m. to 8
during
p.m.
the sessions.
So next
Or after
tomorrow's
the start of
class,
the session, you can ask
the
the
link
queries.
is going
right?
to be changed.
Whenever
Right?
you are
You're supposed to
practicing, if
get
you get
enrolled.
anything. Otherwise, a separate
For
WhatsApp
getting
group
the
is there
link,
for
right?
discussions,
Yes.
right?
So tomorrow at 6
Anybody
p.m.
can
we'll be
discuss.
having
I'll be
session.
answering, right? If
We'll
any
be
errors.
continuing with this ADF.
Okay.
First,
So if I'm
I'll
done
be
with your
showing you all
queries,
the
if there are no
basics
other
to the advanced
queries,
level. So you'll be
I'm
getting
signing
that
off for
live
now.
session
Meet you
videos.
tomorrow, same
Even
time
if you
at
miss any
6 p.m.
session, you'll be
with the
having,
same
you'll
link,
be
right?
getting the recording.
Thank you all for your
every
time.
day
Thank
one
you.
recording
Bye.
means
Thank you.
all these are live sessions. You'll be attending the sessions. Any queries then and there you can ask me. But if you miss the session also, even the session will be recorded. You will be getting the session because of some ill health or because of office timings. If you're unable to attend, you can go through those and attend the next sessions. Clear soft copy of the class notes. Everything I'll be typing and showing you. Now, once we start with these practicals, there won't be any theoretical, right? Everything is practicals, practical oriented, assignments and tasks to work with. And a WhatsApp group will be created. You'll be added to the WhatsApp tomorrow. So you'll be added to the WhatsApp group. You'll be from tomorrow onwards, you'll be getting the notes and videos you'll be getting to your Google Drive, notes to your mail IDs, WhatsApp group for technical discussions. The last you'll be getting interview questions, right? Mostly asked interview questions. Fine. Any queries from your side, anyone? Right. So what I suggest as Azure Data Engineer, great demand today. Azure Data Engineer has got great demand. And even if you check it, right, jobs, one of the top high paying jobs, does data engineer jobs. So having a career in this data engineer, so you no need to write huge codes here. Everything I'll be briefing you about, right? Yeah. Any queries from your side, anyone? Right. Yeah.
Like apart from the classroom, are they providing any materials?
Yeah, clear notes will be provided, right? Means the
Apart from
topic
this,
topic wise.
anything are you going to provide?
1 second. That means you're talking about soft copy or hard copy?
Like soft copies, like materials
Soft,
apart from the classroom notes.
soft. So 1 second. We see about this ADF notes. Clear notes, right? For example, each and everything, topic wise, you'll be getting these notes. Topic wise, these notes.
Yeah, like this is fine. And as well, like apart from this material, anything you are going to provide?
See, one thing, right? What is this? Prakash, Baba Prakash,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's nothing theoretical about these notes. Everything practical oriented. Everything I'll be discussing here. So whenever you're going with another one, what is the drawback with the previous one? Everything will be discussed. Okay, so everything practical oriented. So notes also will be practical oriented only, but everything will be clear in a clear form. You can see this. Anything like ADF, or if you go for ADB also, clear notes for this Databricks with PySpark notes, right? So topic wise, everything, right? Clearly, even people who are from zero programming also can easily understand by seeing these notes, right? This
Like
Databricks.
for PySpark and everything you have given
Yeah,
Databricks.
PySpark, totally
Notebooks.
PySpark. So this PySpark computations, basics of this PySpark. Before I go with this, I'll also discuss, right? Basics of this Hadoop and Spark knowledge will be provided, and totally this PySpark, Databricks with PySpark, little
Like
basics.
now you are showing these interest, right? So you will provide all these things regarding PySpark sessions.
All this PySpark fundamentals, PySpark persistence, PySpark fault tolerance, PySpark how they are computed introduction, ADB introduction, creating ADB instance, working with notebooks, creating and scheduling a job, cluster types, PySpark SQL, creating cluster memory, creating tables in ADB, types of schedulers, notebooks, magic commands, Databricks utilities, notebook utility, widget utility, DBFS, Databricks file system, list of file systems, mounting Databricks Unity catalog, Databricks Lakehouse platform, setting up Unity catalog, creating user groups, all this step by step, everything practical I'll be showing you. If you want, you can do parallel along with me. Yes. Everything will be practical oriented, right? Yes. So
Okay,
even the Azure
it
subscription,
is copy activity, right?
pardon, right?
Copy activity. Like that, there are other activities, right?
So many
You
activities that is in ADF. If you go
Yeah.
to that ADF notes, you can see all this.
Yeah, you are like you are going to cover all those things, or like
Yes, copy activity, wait activity, different types of to get metadata activity, conditional split activity, if condition activity, lookup activity, all many activities are there. Come to this ADF, right? And different types of transformations. Many things will be covered. Everything in brief, right? Right. Yes.
Sir, when ADB you will start, sir?
So one thing is everything in brief I'll be discussing. That's why I'll be spending more examples. So as I said here, just 1 second. So initially I'll be starting with ADF classes. After starting of ADF classes, after 1 week from now, ADB classes are also going to start parallelly. So I'm saying from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. you'll have ADB introduction classes start parallelly, but initially we'll go with ADF classes. From here onwards, both goes parallelly, because if you go one after the other, it will take a lot of time to cover all these things, right? So it takes both. I'll be covering like 2 months for this, 2 months for this. ADF and ADF both goes parallelly. So if anyone, if you're unable to attend 2 hours means daily, can go with 1 hour. First you can go with ADF. Later you can attend my ADB class. Right, multiple batches will be running, right? So if you're unable to spend 2 hours daily, you can go with ADF initially. Later you can go with ADB, one after the other. Right? Fine. But ADB has got ADF has got demand, but as compared with that, Databricks with PySpark has got much more demand and huge packages for that. So as overall, as a data engineer, you'll be learning about all this. Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, and Azure Synapse. Along with that, you'll be getting knowledge on this. You'll be interacting with all this. I'll be giving knowledge on this. Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Cosmos, and Streaming, right?
Sir, from tomorrow will you start ADB, sir?
From tomorrow, we'll be starting with ADF first.
Okay.
So for the next 1 week, ADF, and once you got the knowledge on this resources, these things, right? Basics, everything you got. After that, I'll start with ADB. Right?
Okay,
Means
fine.
1 hour on ADF. First 1 hour, next 1 week, it will be 1 hour class on ADF only. And after that, parallel 2 hours, 1 hour on ADF, 1 hour on parallel. Fine. Otherwise, if you want to go one after the other also, you can go, right? ADB, if you go sequentially, what will be the course duration? ADF and ADB, if you go parallelly, what will be the duration, right? So, yes. If you go parallelly, you can complete in 2 months, right? You can complete in 2 months. But it goes for more than 3.5 months. It goes if you go one after the other. Right. So what I suggest is go parallelly or go one after the other, right? It takes one after the other. It is time taking process. 3.5 months it takes. Right. Tomorrow class timing at 6 o'clock. So the link is going to be changed tomorrow. You are supposed to get enrolled. Tomorrow class at 6 p.m. Tomorrow class at 6 p.m. I will be having a session tomorrow, 6 p.m. on ADF, right? For the next 1 week, it will be going with ADF classes 1 hour. So you are supposed to get enrolled. So everything you'll be understanding everything 100%. You can ask queries. If again multiple examples will be provided, everything will be live interactive sessions. Everything I'll be showing you step by step. Because in a batch of students, right? People from non-programming or zero programming also will be there. So keeping all the students in mind, the sessions will go. Before any prerequisites required, that also I'll be discussing before I go with the practicals, right? You can see a big message given by this online team about this payment process and procedure. You can see a big message and their contact details. You can see the payment details. You can see Google Pay or this other details. And don't forget to share the screenshot of your payment. Don't forget to share the screenshot of your payment to the mail ID that is provided. People, most of you, they will get enrolled, but they won't share the screenshot of that payment to the mail ID, Durgasoft Online Training @gmail.com. They have provided, right? Yes. Any other queries, right? Yes. So just to get enrolled, to get added to the WhatsApp group, to get the videos daily basis, to get the notes. Yes, yes, Prakar Sarawat, right? Yes, you can attend both parallelly, not a problem. So yes, ADF and ADB. See, there is 2 choices for you. You want to go parallelly, you can go parallelly. What I suggest is going parallelly. It will just decrease the time bound. Means you will understand both. In ADF, there is no coding involved. In ADB, you will be seeing little bit of code, right? But not huge codings. Everything you will understand. So link for both are different. Yes, I'll provide you all the things. A WhatsApp group will be there where you can interact about the links, other things, time, everything. A WhatsApp group will be created tomorrow, right?
So I want to ask a question. Like, I just want to learn like Azure Databricks and PySpark. So the class will be from next week from 6 to 7 o'clock. Just wanted to confirm, like, will there be any relation with Azure Data Factory at that time?
See, you want only Databricks.
So I just want to learn point number 2 and 3 only, Databricks and PySpark.
Okay, not a problem, right? You can attend, go with. No need of ADF. ADF is totally drag and drop.
Okay.
You can understand it. So from January 2nd at 6 p.m. it is going to start Databricks.
Okay. Yeah.
PM and January 2nd.
Okay.
And tomorrow next up to January 2nd, ADF classes and continuous. Both will be going parallel at 7 p.m. ADF, at 6 p.m. Databricks course, right? Yes.
Yeah.
So people, you can go parallelly or you can go one after the other. That depends upon you. But yes. Fine. So if I'm done with your queries, if there are no other queries, I'll sign off, right? Meet you tomorrow, same time at 6 p.m., right? Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Bye. Yes. Yeah. Good evening, all. So myself, I'm Vijay. I hold like 20 plus years of experience, which includes experience in different technologies, which includes like big data, Hadoop, Spark, PySpark, Azure data engineering, right? So before I start, can anyone please confirm
Whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not. Yes.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yes, thank you. As part of today's demo, I'll be covering the following thing. Fine. Why Azure Data Engineer? Why data engineer, you say? First, you say why data engineer? Role of a data engineer. You go back like 10 years or 15 years, right? There is no kind of a data engineer. We used to say like ETL developers. So generally, the differences, generally people ask, right? There are differences between data engineer, data scientist, data analyst. Data engineer products or services. Azure Data Engineer products, services. Overview on that. Next. Job market of Azure Data Engineer. Job market of Azure Data Engineer. Okay. So starting with this is what I'll be discussing, right? Why data engineer, role of Azure Data Engineer, difference between data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst. Data engineer products or services, job market of Azure Data Engineer. Cloud. See, if you talk about cloud, it's majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering the data. See, cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering the data in various forms. Storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various forms. We see the difference between this on-premises and cloud premises. We talk about on-premises databases. On-premises, right? We talk about on-premises and cloud premise, right? So we need to, in the case of on-premise, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. We need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation. On top of that OS installation, next, purchasing of a database license. Installation of a database server. Designing database objects. Okay, we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. On top of that OS installation, purchasing database license, installation of database server, designing a database objects, designing of database objects. To maintain all this, we require separate teams. To maintain all this, we require separate teams.
we require separate teams. Hardware team is required. Operating system team. Next, like networking team, security team, database administrators, database administrators. Okay. To maintain all this, we require separate teams: hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team, database administrator. But here, everything in the cloud premises, we no need to maintain all this. We no need of hardware team, operating system, networking, security, or all this. See, no need to maintain. No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Everything in the cloud environment. Okay, this is cloud. So no need of any of this infrastructure, no need of any licenses, right? Everything here. So data engineers. Data engineers with the help of cloud services. Data engineers with the help of cloud services work on the data, make it structured and useful. Data engineers with the help of cloud services work on the data and make it structured and useful. Make it structured and useful. Data engineers are responsible. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow. For smooth data flow from source to destination. Data engineers responsible for smooth data from source to destination. Data engineer, right? Data engineer will be responsible. Data engineer responsible for preparing the data, cleansing the data, transforming data. Yes. Processing data. Data engineer responsible, right, for preparing data, cleansing data, transforming data, and processing data. So if I talk about the differences between this data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, check this. Data scientist. And here I'm writing data analyst. So data scientist, the main role of this data scientist strategizes for the future, strategizes for the future. Analyze the data, identify the patterns, recommendations for the future. Analyze the data, identify the patterns, recommendations for the future. Identify the patterns, recommendations for the future. Data analyst. So data scientist strategizes for the future. Data analyst summarizes the past. Summarizes the past. Analyze the data. Summarize the data of the past. Summarize the data of the past and visualizing the data. Summarizes the past, analyze the data, summarize the data of the past and visualizing the data. So data scientist, data analyst, and data engineer. So data engineer does all the groundwork. Data engineer does all the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. We talk like more than 80%. More than 80% of data analysis is done by data engineers. More than 80% of data analysis work is done by data engineers. Data engineering involves what are the sources? What are the sources of data? Secondly, what is the format of the data? What is the format of the data? How to transform data? And what is the destination of the data? So data engineering involves what are the sources of the data? what is the format of the data, how to transform data, and what is the destination of the data. Now, why Azure Data Engineer? Why Azure Data Engineer? In demand. Why Azure Data Engineer is in demand today? Why there is a great boom for Azure Data Engineer? And even if you see the salary packages of this data engineer, right? Huge packages. 1.5 times or 2 times more than the other technologies, right? Yes. Why Azure Data Engineer is in demand? For example, check this. An organization, this is an organization. It wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data on the website. The organization using Azure for its operation. So it is going to hire Azure Data Engineer. Azure Data Engineer it is going to hire, and also a data scientist. It is going to hire 2 persons, Azure Data Engineer and data scientist. First, a data engineer creates a data warehouse. He is going to create a data warehouse for the organization. What is data warehouse? It is the storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data from various sources, such as user logs, clicks, existing customer data. Data engineer structures this data, stores it, and monitors in data warehouse. Secondly, this data engineer communicates with the data scientist, is going to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement. He also communicates with the business team to know the business requirements of the organization. So he has to keep in mind the business needs when dealing with the data in hand. So every time he needs to keep in mind, right, the business requirement, business needs when dealing with the data. The data scientist later analyzes and creates insights from the processed data of data engineer. The business team requires the dashboard tools for visualizing these key insights. It helps the team to read the data easily. Data engineer, right? Keep constantly processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. He creates the data pipelines. He is going to create a data pipelines for which the data is integrated with all the crucial stages of the data flow. He also makes sure that the pipeline is always efficient and secure. This is the primary roles of Azure Data Engineer. But apart from this, right, see if I make it clear, the various roles of Azure Data Engineer. Role of Azure Data Engineer. Role of Azure Data Engineer. First one, the first. Designing entire data flow architecture. Data flow architecture. Designing entire data flow architecture. Next, like designing entire data flow architecture and creating data warehouse. Creating data warehouse. For storage of analytical data. Third one is ETL. The third task is ETL. ETL process is one of the key tasks. It is one of the key tasks of data engineers. They need to extract the data from multiple sources. They need to extract the data from multiple sources, transform it into structured and queryable data, and load this data into company's storage service for further business evaluations by the data scientist and data monitoring. Right? Data monitoring. Data engineers, they make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way, and the data is available everywhere it is required. And also data security. Data security is also a major responsibility of data engineers. The data needs to be secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or data exposure. And next is like collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. They have to constantly communicate with the business team to check if the team needs data insights. Collaborating with the data scientists is also necessary to deliver the data as per their needs. And analytics. So data engineers analyze the data and transform it into structured and useful format. They need to have some strong analytical and mathematical skills to perform this analysis. And also automation. Certain things have to be automated, right? They have to automate certain process which require minimal human intervention, such as extraction, right? Data extraction. So these are the major role of Azure data engineer. The main thing is designing entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse, ETL, extract, transform, and load, data monitoring, and the data security at each step of the process without any leaks or exposures, collaboration and communications with the business team and data scientist. Analytics, need to have some analytical knowledge to perform analysis, and for automation side, certain things has to be automated, right? Yes. These are the role of Azure data engineer. Now coming to this services, Azure data engineering products or services. Azure data engineering products or services. Azure SQL. So Azure data engineering products and services, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse Analytics, Synapse Analytics, Azure Data Factory, ADF here, we say ADF, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, ADB, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming, Azure Key Vault. So just I'll give overview about this Azure data engineering products. Yes. Azure SQL, the first one. Azure SQL. It is a cloud or DBMS. It is a cloud or DBMS database. Simply, I can say it is a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft. In Azure. It is a cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft in Azure. It is for OLTP operations. It is for OLTP operations. OLTP captures OLTP system. It is going to capture end user transactions. Day-to-day transactions, right? Yes. It is not for data warehouse. This cloud or DBMS database of Microsoft is for OLTP. Azure Data Lake. Azure Data Lake. Distributed file system. Distributed file system. With unlimited data storage. With unlimited data storage. In cloud. Is called as data lake. Distributed file system with unlimited data storage in cloud is called as data lake. We talk about this HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system. HDFS. On-premises distributed file system. Azure Data Lake. We have got Azure Data Lake. Is a cloud distributed file system. It's a cloud. I can say it is a repository for large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. Yes, it is a repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. Like ADF, Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory. In a simple way, I say. It is a cloud ETL. That's it. It's a cloud ETL or cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud Platform. It is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud Platform. Okay, it is a ADF. ADF is a data integration service. Is a data integration service. So I'll discuss what it is. So generally, it's a cloud-based. It is a cloud ETL of Microsoft, right? Extract, transform, and load, and it is a data. It acts as a data integration service between the OLTPs and data warehouse. The raw data coming from one side, processed data coming from other side, that being transformed as per the destination. So ADF permits you to combine data from multiple sources, reformat it to analytical models, saving the models for querying, for visualizing, for reporting. It creates data flows for data movement and data transformation, right? We'll discuss in brief later. So you will be getting data from IoT, logs, media files, And for custom applications, business applications, it is going to extract it, load it into data lake. Later, this Databricks process it. Next, Azure Databricks. Azure Databricks, ADB. Simply, I can say it is a Apache Spark. It is a Apache Spark based data analytics platform. Data analytics platform for Microsoft Azure. So it combines data science, data engineering, and business together. It's Apache Spark-based data analytics platform. Spark is a very high-speed processing execution model. Very high-speed processing execution model, right? At a very high rate of speed, it's going to process the data. That too huge data in very quick time, right? So it is Apache Spark-based analytics platform from Microsoft Azure, right? Yes. Brings data science, data engineering, and business together. Later, I discuss in brief about these things. Coming to the Azure Synapse. Azure Synapse. Cloud RDBMS. For data warehouse. For analytics. For batch processing. For parallel processing. For parallel processing. For batch processing. For parallel processing, right? Yes. Azure Streaming. Azure Streaming Analytics. Analyzing and processing high volumes of streaming data. What do you mean by streaming data? Data which keeps on incrementing, data which keeps on generating. Such data we call it as streaming data. That too from multiple sources. And that too simultaneously. Right? Azure Cosmos DB. Azure cloud-based NoSQL database, you can say. Azure cloud-based NoSQL database. So just like we have got many NoSQL databases like Graph Store, Columnar Store, Document Store, Graph Store, like the famous NoSQL databases like MongoDB, HBase, Cassandra, RIA, Peanut, Neo4j, right? CouchDB. The same way, like the same manner, like cloud-based NoSQL database, that is Azure Cosmos DB. Azure Key Vault. Protecting data in the cloud. Protecting data in the cloud, right? Secure key management. So we use like Azure Key Vault for encrypting the keys and small secrets like passwords. Okay. So these are the major data engineering products. So as a ADF developer, if you go like as an ADF developer or like a Databricks developer, as a data engineer, you are going to interact with all these services, Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB. So you are going to store the data. You are going to read the data, or going to write the data into Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Cosmos DB, Azure Synapse, right from this. So as directly or indirect, so you are going to interact with all this as a ADF developer, as a Databricks developer, as a data engineer, you are going to interact with all these things, right? Yes. So what is the course content I'm going to discuss, right? So here, before I go, okay. Subservice. Azure Data Engineer. So mainly going to discuss like Azure Data Factory, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, ADE in this Azure Data Engineering course, right? Azure Data Factory, ADF, Azure Databricks, PySpark, Azure Synapse. Azure Synapse, right? Apart from this, this is the main discussion, Azure Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, plus you will be given knowledge on this Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming. So as a data engineer, so about you'll be getting the entire knowledge in brief about these things. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, ADB, PySpark, and apart from this, I will also be providing knowledge on these things. See the course content ones, right? Just have a look in this course content. Azure Data Factory, first overview of Azure resources or services, Azure Data Factory, Databricks, Azure SQL, Key Vault, Synapse, Cosmos DB streaming. Azure Data Factory. What is Azure Data Factory? Its architecture, Data Factory UI, top level concepts, pipelines, activities, data sets, triggers, data flows, integration, runtime. Pipeline. What is a pipeline? Creating a new pipeline, organizing pipelines into folders, debug pipeline, publish pipeline, parameters for pipeline, linked services for blob, MySQL database, SQL server, data lake, and data sets. What is a data set? Creating data set for Avro file, binary file, CSV, Excel, JSON, ORC, Parquet, XML, blob, tables in SQL database, parameterization, data set parameterizations, activities, variables, creating a variable, set variable, append variable, copy data, general source, sync, mapping, settings, user properties, one file from a folder, all files from a folder, all files and folders recursively from the folder, copy data file from blob to SQL database, Databricks, Azure function, get data, get metadata, delete, execute pipeline, validation, iteration condition, filter for each if condition, switch until triggers. What is trigger types? Schedule trigger, tumbling window, storage event triggers, integration runtime, Azure managed virtual network, self-hosted, source control, credentials, managed private endpoints. Okay, data flows, mapping data flows, transformations, filter, conditional split, exists union, lookup, group by, pivot, unpivot, flatten, filter, flowlet, validate schema, schema drift, removing duplicate rows, slowly changing dimensions, right? Type 1, type 2. And many exercises nearly 50 exercises I'm going to show you. Let all this creating copy activity, bulk, copy tables from files until activity, filter, join, lookup, pivot, alter row, SCDs, right? All this. Coming to the Databricks, before I go with Databricks, I'll be providing you some knowledge on this big data. I'm going to provide you some knowledge on this Hadoop, some knowledge on this Spark, and on Azure. So, an introduction to this Azure, an introduction to this Databricks, creating of Azure Databricks service, Azure CLI, adding users and groups to the workspace, creating a cluster from the user interface, getting started with notebooks, Databricks cluster management, displaying cluster, starting cluster, terminating cluster, deleting a cluster, cluster information, cluster logs, cluster access controls, types of cluster, all purpose, job cluster, Databricks pools, cluster modes, high concurrency, auto scaling, Databricks utilities, data utilities, file system, job utility, Databricks integration with the Azure Data Lake, SQL database, Synapse, Snowflake, Databricks handling multiple file formats, CSV, JSON, Parquet, Excel, XML, ORC, Avro files, batch processing, historical, incremental, date transformations, join operations, window functions, union operations, streaming API, handling bad records, Lakehouse, Delta Lake, differences between Delta Lake and Delta table, introduction to Delta Lake, features of Delta Lake, how to create Delta table, how DML operations in Delta table, merge statements, handling SCD type 1, type 2, data duplications, workflows in Databricks, scheduling Databricks jobs, monitor Databricks jobs, Azure Synapse, overview of pools, using Azure Synapse Analytics to query data lake, Azure storage accounts, integration with Azure Synapse, Azure Synapse triggers, Azure SQL database integration with Azure Synapse, incremental load, loading and notification of key vaults, deep dive into copy activity, data flows, join, union, lookup, window, pivot, alter, and Spark pool, introduction to Azure Synapse, right? Reading and writing JSON files, Avro files, Excel files, all this. So in brief, in depth, you'll be discussing about all these things. Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse, and PySpark. Means Azure Databricks with the PySpark, right? Yes. And also everything, storing, interacting with all these things, right? Data like Cosmos DB. And if I talk about this job market, right? Yes. So according to this Microsoft, right, every year like lakhs of new companies, they're registering themselves on Azure. Like more than 95% of the Fortune 500 companies are utilizing Azure cloud services. The in turn increasing the number of job opportunities, for Azure data engineers. So major companies, they are using Azure, they are shifting to Azure and regularly need professionals who can work in Azure and handling huge data. According to the pay scales, data engineers have got the highest average salary as closely as data scientists. From the survey of global knowledge, you can see, right, the top two highest paying jobs, data engineer and data scientist. So if you want to have it, if you want to change the career to this data engineering side, so it is one of the best choice. So it is one of the data engineering jobs is the emerging jobs. And even companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all they're interested in hiring these data engineers with a great salary packages. You can see the salary package also as compared with other technologies. Even like tech giants like Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart are offering high paying jobs for this data engineers, right? So yeah. Tomorrow also everyone can attend the session, same time at 6 p.m. using the same link. And let me make it, will PySpark be? Yes, PySpark will be covered in this. Yes, PySpark also will be covered. See here, most of this, what I said in the syllabus, many not touch and go in total like, so I said, before I go with Databricks, first I'll give knowledge on this big data, Hadoop, Spark. And later in this, we're dealing with different types of data and clusters, Spark cluster, creation of the Spark cluster, working with CSV, JSON, Parquet, Excel, all this data. And this everything, date transformations, incremental loading, join operations, window function, union operations, Databricks batch processing using Spark by Spark, right? Yes. These things. And data frame API. Total data frame API I will be discussing in brief.
Sir, can I ask some question?
Yeah, just a second. Timings.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Just a second. Just 1 minute, right? Let me complete this. Then I'll come back to with your queries. So for the first 3 to 4 days, right? The timings will be starts at 6 p.m. Later it will be at 7 p.m. up to the end of the course. So first 3 to 4 days, it will be at 6 p.m. So before you go with the payment process, I'm making you to clear about the timings. First 3-4 days only it will be at 6 p.m. Later it will start at 7 p.m. up to the end of the course. Daily 1 hour, 7 p.m. to 7 p.m. it starts. Right? And offerings from my side. What are the offerings from my side, right? Yes. Each and every session, live session video. Each and every session video you'll be getting, even if you miss any session, you can go to the recording and attend the next session for the better understanding. Soft copy of the class notes. And assignments and tasks to work. Assignments are tasks to work. And a WhatsApp group will be created for technical discussions. If you get any error, you can take the snap of it and post in the WhatsApp group. Anybody can be answering. I'll be answering it. And interview questions. Okay. Live session video, soft copy of the class notes, assignments and tasks. And WhatsApp and interview questions, right? Yes. So this is the things, right? So tomorrow also you can attend the session to see more discuss. Yes, someone was asking some queries, right? Yes. Yeah, some of you were asking queries. Now go with your queries, right? All the sessions will be interactive sessions. Any point of time, if you got any query, you can unmute and you can answer, right? Just you can ask the queries. You'll be in unmuted status only through voice or through chat. You can communicate, right? Yes.
This will be weekend classes or weekdays classes?
These are weekdays classes. Daily it will be.
Okay.
Monday to Friday.
Sir, in Databricks, sir, where we are going to use it, sir? Which tool are you going to create Databricks services? Yeah, community edition you will use.
So yes, see for Azure Databricks, right? If you want
Yes.
like total PySpark features, Spark SQL kind of features, say okay, you need to go with pay as you go version. See, for this Azure subscription, it is giving free subscription, right? So I'll show you how to get the free subscription for this Azure and how to work with the practical part. For Azure Data Factories, all this, even some part of Databricks also you can use it. And especially from Databricks, if you go with Spark side, right? At PySpark, if you want functionalities, full-fledged functionalities to be used, then you need to go with the premium version, pay as you go version. There also I'll say you how it can reduce, how with minimal cost, how you can get it. I'll be discussing. Means whenever you practice, you need to practice and immediately delete it. Again, it takes just 2 to 5 minutes it takes to recreate it. Once tomorrow, if you want to use it in this way, if you want to minimize the price, I will show you how you can with minimum price, how you can get the Databricks features. Otherwise, if otherwise it is a clustered keeps running, it will be charged for that.
Sir,
Right?
in class, you will create cluster, yeah, what?
Yes, everything I'll be showing you. Without cluster, you cannot run this Databricks jobs. In
I said
ADF,
one more
ADF,
thing.
yes.
Said how to create the tables. There are the different what tabs are there in Databricks having a catalog? What is what is the use of catalogs and how to backtrace the jobs?
See, one thing, right? It's a big thing. Okay, to explain it, it takes a time. But as you asked, right? 1 second. So the first thing in Databricks, everything is a catalog. Compulsory, we need to create a catalog. So check this Databricks with PySpark notes, right? So yes, this is the entire notes. For every batch, I'll be creating the notes separately. So how to mount ADLS as a data like with the DBFS file system. Databricks community Unity catalog. This is the diagram for that Unity, what you have asked. So it's too early to discuss, but as you asked, so just check with this diagram. I have just drawn this diagram in the paint. Check this. So catalog is the catalog. First, we are supposed to get this catalog, and using with the catalog, you will be giving privileges to the users. To which users you want to give the privilege, you can give the privilege access, right? And within the catalog, if you want to create multiple catalogs for development, for QA, and for production, for all this, for every environment, I'll create one catalog: dev catalog, QA catalog, production catalog. Within this catalog, database one within dev catalog. For example, dev catalog development, production. For dev catalog, database one, database two, database multiple databases I'll create. Within the databases, tables I'll create. Within each database, I'm talking about a single database, tables, views, functions, volumes. Again, in each table, managed tables are there, unmanaged tables are there, volumes, managed volumes, unmanaged volumes, views, functions. All this in, you know about tables and views in SQL, functions and volumes we got. Right?
So will be discuss Unity catalog as well.
Without that, you cannot run the show, right?
Mm. Yes, because most of the times in interview people are asking.
This is the main thing, Unity catalog. Unity catalog is the main thing among all this. Compulsory, we need to create it. See the steps, clear steps I'll be showing you about this, right? So Databricks Unity catalog diagram, Databricks Unity catalog, Databricks Lakehouse platform, Databricks Lakehouse platform, setting up Unity catalog, provisioning and adding users to Unity catalog, creating users to the Unity catalog, creating metastore objects in the Unity catalog, granting and revoking privileges, creating volumes, creating external locations, everything in this Unity catalog only, right?
Mhm.
So this is notes for this, right? For PySpark, clear notes of this PySpark, right? So PySpark computations, data frames, API, right? Unity catalog compulsory.
Yeah.
So you will provide notes also, or this recordings you will provide.
Yeah, recordings will be there, notes will be both. See this session video, each and every session is video recorded. But
Okay, and one more thing, I've checked you have multiple sites on Google. So which one is like original?
which one?
Because every time I open your site on Google, so durgasoft.com, durgasolution.com. So which one is yours?
See, 1 second. Go to this Google, and that Durga Software Solutions, you say.
Yes.
Durga Software Solutions, durgasoft.com. Durgasoft.com. If you say the
And
Durga.com, right? You will see all this site will get. This is the site where that all running courses you can see.
okay.
So you can see today's, right, ADE and Azure Data Engineering. Today's demo, right? In this
Okay, fine.
Durgasoft.com, right? Yes. Where you can see the posters of different topic.
Yes, yes, yes.
And clear notes will be provided for topic wise, each and everything clearly. If people from any, there is a prerequisites, means for ADF there is no prerequisites. For Databricks, some basic SQL knowledge is required, and basic Python knowledge is required. Basic Python knowledge is required, right? Yes.
Okay.
Python basics. Even I'll be giving syntaxes of this Python for just 2-3 days. I'll be briefing you about the syntaxes before I go with the practicals. Fine. So tomorrow also you can attend the session to see more discussion on this, right? Any other queries, right? Anyone having any other queries? So everything will be from this ground level to the advanced level. Anyone with zero programming knowledge or anything with zero skills, right? The only thing is attending the sessions and doing the practicals and asking the queries during the sessions, or after the start of the session, you can ask the queries, right? Whenever you are practicing, if you get anything. Otherwise, a separate WhatsApp group is there for discussions, right? Anybody can discuss. I'll be answering, right? If any errors are that, fine. Okay. So if I'm done with your queries, if there are no other queries, I'm signing off for now. Meet you tomorrow, same time at 6 p.m. with the same link, right? Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, all. So before I start, can one please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not? Yes. So yesterday we had some introductory session on this Azure Data Engineer. Just I'll take just 2 to 5 minutes what we have discussed in the last session. But why Azure? Why data engineer? Role of data engineer? Difference between data engineer, data scientist, and data analyst. Data engineer products or services job market of Azure Data Engineer. Cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various forms. So we have got on-premises. In the case of on-premises, we need to set up your own hardware infrastructure. On top of that, OS installation, purchasing of database license, and installation of database server, and designing of database objects. To maintain all this, we require separated teams: hardware team, operating system team, networking team, security team, database administrators. But here everything in the cloud premises. We no need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need of any licenses. Here everything in the cloud environment. Right? Yes. So data engineers, with the help of cloud services, they work on the data and make it structured and useful. Data engineers responsible for smooth data flow from the source to destination. Data engineers responsible for preparing the data, cleansing data, filtering data, transforming data, and processing data. And if you see the difference between this data engineers, data scientist, and data analyst. Data scientist strategizes for the future, analyze the data, identify the patterns, and recommendations for the future. But data analyst summarizes the past. So data scientist strategizes for the future. Data analyst summarizes the past, analyze the data, summarize the data of the past, and visualize the data. So if you talk about data engineer, it does all the groundwork for data scientist and data analyst. It means more than 80% of the data analysis work is done by data engineers. That extraction, process, transformation, loading, all this processing, everything done. Data engineering involves what are the sources of the data, from where you need to pull the data from, what is the format of the data you need to get, how to transform it, and what is the destination of the data. And why Azure data engineers are in demand today. Role of Azure data engineer. Why Azure data engineers in demand today? Means generally this Azure data engineers, they are going to create a data warehouse for the organizations. Means and also data engineers communicate with the data scientists to understand the key requirements, data requirements, and also communicating with the business team to know the business requirements. So this data engineers constantly keep processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data. So this data engineers, right? The data engineers, they are going to create a data pipelines, and also they need to make sure that the pipeline is secure. So this that, and we have got other roles of Azure data engineer, which involves designing entire data flow architecture, creating data warehouse for storing of analytical data, ETL. It's one of the key tasks of data engineers. They're going to extract data from multiple sources. They're going to extract the data from multiple sources. Data engineers extracting data from multiple sources, transform it into structured and queryable form. They load the data into company storage service for further business evaluations by the data scientists. And data monitoring, right? And this data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper manner. The data is available anywhere and everywhere it is required. Data security. Data security. Data security is also a major responsibility of data engineers. Data security is also a major responsibility of data engineers. The data need to be secure at each step of the process without any data leaks or exposure. Collaboration and communication. Collaboration and communication. They need to constantly communicate with the business team. They need to constantly communicate with the business team to check the data requirements, the data needs, collaborating with the data scientist, delivering the data as per their requirement. And analytics, they need to have some strong analytical knowledge, and also some certain things has to be automated, like some kind of extractions. And data engineering products or services. Azure SQL. Azure SQL, it's a simple cloud or DBMS. It's a cloud or DBMS. Azure Data Lake, it is a kind